There's something different about Kentucky. I'm not talking about its bluegrass or bourbon or stretch of Appalachian mountains that catch its eastern quarter. I'm talking about the people, the Kentuckians, the spirited souls who embody both grit and grace. Even in a state of grief, they will not bend and they will not break in their search for justice. And Sandra Hasty is one such person. Sandra's son, Michael Gorley, has been missing for 11 years, and this is her plea.
My name is Sandra Hasty, and my son is Michael Gorley, who's been missing since May 17th, 2015. I know there's people missing a lot longer than Michael, but, you know, he's my baby. He's my son. My son's dead. I know he is. I know it. I feel it in my heart, my soul, my spirit. You know, I know he is. I just hope that good karma will come back, that someone would finally speak up about Michael.
Oftentimes, there are layers of circumstances surrounding someone's disappearance, and stripping them back can be both heartbreaking and frustrating as time quickly slips through our fingers. Getting information out to the public is critical if we have any hope at all of bringing the missing back home. However, a look inside someone's private life can oftentimes feel invasive, and it's important to be as respectful as we can in telling their story. There are parts of Michael Gorley's life that are hard to talk about. Grief and mistakes were a part of his journey, and the combination may have played a part in what happened to him. We all hit a rough patch in our lives, and the years leading up to Michael's disappearance were definitely his rough patch. In December of 2004, Michael's father died. The two of them were very close, and the loss took its toll on him. Before Michael could even begin to process the impact that this would have on his life, he suffered two more losses. In February and March of 2005, his aunt and grandmother both passed away. 3 deaths in the span of 4 months definitely left a lasting mark on Michael's life as he moved forward. We all grieve differently, and it's easy to sometimes lose our way. Michael's life began to fracture. He was a hard worker, but drifted through several jobs as he searched for stability. People that Michael may have thought were his friends could have actually been the same people who put him in harm's way in May of 2015. I will now take you to February 2015, when Michael made a regrettable decision to accept a ride from a man that he knew. At the time, it didn't seem like any big deal. He was just trying to get to where he was going, and got in the wrong car at the wrong time. Michael was one of 4 people in a car being driven by a 40-year-old Danville man with a DUI suspended license. A traffic stop at a Danville Walmart parking lot led to a search of the car. 18 grams of crystal methamphetamine, along with $2,500 in cash and some other paraphernalia, was found in the possession of the driver and his girlfriend. Michael tried to explain to the officer that he was just catching a ride and had nothing to do with the items that were found in the car. The officer refused to listen to Michael and charged all 4 with trafficking and possession of methamphetamines. A grand jury failed to return an indictment in Michael's case, and he was released from jail on May 12th, just 5 days before he disappeared. For just 5 short days, Michael was free. He was staying with his mother and trying to figure out the next steps to take in his life. So, what happened to this 38-year-old man in the days that followed? Was Michael about to disappear on his own, or did he unknowingly get caught up in a dangerous game? Who were these people in Michael's life that were now trying to sell a story about the hours leading up to his disappearance? The story they told almost seemed practiced, and when anyone tried to dig deeper, they became silent. But the twists and turns in Michael's case were just getting started. Authorities were slow to respond when Michael's mother, Sandra, and his sister, Jennifer, reported him missing. As we all know, this is typical when adults disappear. We're often told to sit tight and wait for our loved one to come back home on their own. Sandra and Jennifer had a gut feeling that something terrible happened to Michael, and waiting was the last thing the two of them intended to do. They were going to start their own search.
We did what we could do within the capability of what the law would allow us to do without getting ourselves put in jail.
Police don't want to listen to a mother. They don't want to hear a mother's plea. I know something bad happened to my child.
I just thought that when you talk to a police officer and you say, my loved one's missing and these are the circumstances and we believe foul play is expected, I was expecting an alert to go off on every cell phone, like an Amber Alert. Person missing in this area, last seen, this is her description. That doesn't happen.
Here's the information that Sandra and Jennifer were able to collect. On the morning of May 17th, 2015, Michael left his mother's home in McKinney at around 9 a.m. He took the gray 2001 Ford Explorer that he shared with his mother and told her that he would see her later. Between 3:30 and 4 p.m. that same day, Jennifer happened to be at her mother's home when two women showed up claiming to be friends of Michael. Sandra recognized one of the women. Almost every local knew who she was and was well aware that she had been in and out of prison. The other woman with her was a stranger. Both women were grungy and looked as if they hadn't bathed in a while. The local woman began by telling Sandra and Jennifer that there was a problem with the Ford Explorer. She said that Michael had been behaving erratically and drove the SUV into a pond on Wilderness Trail Road, and the owner of the property wanted it removed immediately. They offered to take Sandra to the pond so that she could assess the situation and make arrangements for its removal. Sandra and Jennifer were instantly suspicious of the two women and never believed their story from the start. Putting her mistrust aside, Sandra went with the women to see what had happened. When they arrived at the pond, Michael wasn't there. The women said that they had dropped him off at a friend's house. The vehicle wasn't entirely submerged. Only the front two tires were underwater and clearly stuck. Sandra quickly made arrangements for Jennifer's husband and some of his friends to come and pull the SUV out. Jennifer remembered that the windows were open and you could smell a strong odor of gasoline coming from the back of it, as if someone may have intended to set it ablaze. Everyone was upset and confused. None of this made sense. Sandra knew her son would never do something like this. Where was Michael? Why didn't he go to his mother and explain what happened? Though the hour was now late, Sandra was determined to make some calls to find her son. By 11 p.m., Sandra was able to get confirmation from a man living at 5050 Knoblich Road that Michael was with him. He told her that Michael was acting up and that he was going to go beat his ass. Sandra said that she wasn't too concerned by the man's threat because Michael could take care of himself. She did ask the man to tell Michael that they had removed the SUV and would he please bring her son home. Never, during the entire conversation, did Sandra hear her son in the background. The next day, May 18th, Jennifer was at work and kept hearing a voice in her head telling her to go find Michael. Unable to concentrate, Jennifer made a quick call to her mother to check on Michael. Sandra told her that he never came home and that she hadn't heard from him. Jennifer was now convinced that something had happened to her brother. She told her mother that she would pick her up after work and they would go looking for Michael. In the meantime, she told her mother to try and find the address of the man that she had talked to the night before. As soon as Jennifer left work in Parksville, she picked up her kids and headed over to her mother's in McKinney. Jennifer told her mother that a voice kept urging her throughout the day to go find Michael. Eager to get started, the two made a quick stop at the local gas station to get gas. This is when Sandra gets a strange call from the local woman that took her to the pond the day before. The woman wanted to know where Sandra was. She told the woman that she and Jennifer were at a gas station and they were about to set off to find Michael. The woman told her to stay put, and she would meet up with them and lead the way to 5050 Knoblich Road, where she had taken Michael the day before. The women arrived just a few minutes later, and Jennifer noticed that they looked drastically different. They were now clean and well dressed. Their hair was nicely styled, and they were wearing makeup. Something about these two just didn't add up. They were acting nervous, as if they had something to hide. Jennifer knew that if they had any hope at all of finding Michael, they would again have to go along with these two women that seemed to know more about Michael than they did at this point. The home on Knoblich Road was located in a rural area and surrounded by cornfields. It was quiet, and it didn't appear as if anyone was there. Sandra never wasted a moment. She quickly looked for any traces of Michael on the property. It wasn't long before a set of deep tire marks in a ditch captured her attention. As she studied the tracks, Jennifer was drawn to a shed in the backyard. When she started moving in that direction, the two women started rambling nervously about Michael, as if their intention was to distract her. They said that Michael was acting paranoid, that he seemed to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and had a pocket full of money. Jennifer didn't believe the story that they were spinning and tried to get a better look at the shed. Every attempt that she made to move closer to the small structure, the women stood in front of her and tried to frantically engage her in conversation. Jennifer was met with the same resistance when she tried to look deeper into the surrounding fields. There was an uneasiness that seemed to quickly fill the air. Jennifer and Sandra knew that they weren't going to get any answers from these two women and decided it was time to leave. After getting back on the road, the voice in Jennifer's head returned and once again urged her to go back to the house. Against her better judgment, Jennifer listened and drove the few miles back to the home that they had just left. This time, however, there was now a car parked behind the one that the two women drove. Jennifer recognized the man standing in the driveway. He was an old classmate that she and Michael had gone to school with. As soon as she pulled in behind him, the man got back in his car as if his intent were to flee, but there was nowhere for him to exit. The man rolled his window down as Jennifer approached. She asked him if he had seen Michael. Nervously, he told her that he had taken Michael to Junction City the night before. Junction was a small town just a few miles down the road. He said that Michael purchased a pack of cigarettes and a Mountain Dew. On the way back to the house on Knoblich Road, the two of them got in an argument after Michael spilled the soda in his car. Once they got back to the house, Michael started walking back to Junction, and the time was now around 8 or 9 p.m. The man went on to say that Michael was only wearing a pair of teal and white tropical print swimming trunks and no shoes. No one at the house saw him after that. Jennifer knew he was lying. Why would Michael walk 2 miles back to Junction after just returning from there? Why wasn't he wearing his shirt and his shoes? Michael never went anywhere without his shoes. This man's story directly contradicted the story of the man living at 5050 Knoblich. He told Sandra that Michael was there at 11 p.m. The story of Michael's disappearance was beginning to shift, and everyone involved was behaving suspiciously. Jennifer and Sandra decided it was better to not push their luck and started heading home. Then, a couple of miles down the road, that same voice came back into Jennifer's head. It told her to go back one more time. It was getting late. Jennifer had her kids in the car, and she was worried that maybe she and her mother were getting into something dangerous. But Michael was missing, and she felt she needed to try one more time to get some answers. By the time they returned to the house, Jennifer's old school chum was gone, and now in the distance they could see someone on a bike slowly making his way towards them. This was the man that lived at 5050 Knoblich, the man that Sandra had talked to the night before, the same man that said that Michael was acting up and he was going to go beat his ass. Only this time the man was going to tell them another familiar story. Keeping his eyes on the two women that had brought Jennifer and Sandra to his home, he was now telling them that Michael wasn't there at 11 p.m. He said that between 8 and 9 p.m., Michael took off on foot, wearing only his swimming trunks, and was heading back to Junction. The same story that the other man had just told them. It was almost as if the story had been rehearsed. Before any further questions could be asked, the man asked if they would like Michael's hat and shoes. He retrieved them from his porch and placed them in Sandra's hands, his eyes never leaving the other two women. Jennifer and Sandra got an instant chill up their spine. This was all they needed to confirm that something was terribly wrong. They needed to talk to authorities immediately. Of course, Michael's loved ones were about to hit a brick wall. Michael was a 38-year-old man. Getting authorities to listen would be another battle. It would take 10 days before the Kentucky State Police would even list Michael as missing. But there was no stopping Sandra. It was full steam ahead. She continued to search for her son. She collected every piece of evidence that she could find and documented every step of the investigation. Sandra placed Michael's hat and shoes in a plastic bag. Michael's cell phone was found in the SUV, and that was also placed in a plastic bag. He didn't have a chance to purchase any minutes for the phone, but Sandra thought perhaps it would one day become important to collect. Michael's registration was also found. It had one bloody fingerprint on it. The document was placed in a plastic bag, like any good detective would do. This mother was doing what the Kentucky State Police should have been doing. To make matters worse, they never took the items Sandra had collected for testing, nor did they process the SUV. In fact, Jennifer is still in possession of the vehicle. No real work was done on Michael's case until 6 months later, when Detective Frank Thornberry was assigned.
Could Michael Gorley be living on a beach in Australia somewhere? Absolutely. I'm not eliminating that. The likelihood is no. Could he be deceased? Yes. The challenging part is getting the information from people. That is the most challenging part. Felt like a couple times I was getting close, but I'm a realist. So I kind of save myself until I actually find what I'm looking for. Of course, I get my hopes high.
Here are just a few more facts about Michael's case. Michael knew that the SUV was stuck in the pond. On the afternoon of May 17th, Michael went to his grandmother's house with the two women who claimed to be his friends. He was looking for something that would help remove the vehicle from the water. Michael's uncles were also present when he arrived and stated that he was behaving normally and did not appear to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. The uncles did confirm that Michael took a log chain with him. That log chain has never been found. 2 weeks after Michael was officially declared missing, tracking dogs were sent to 5050 Knoblich Road. The dogs traced Michael's scent to a bridge on Hatcher Road, and that is where the trail goes cold. 3 searches in total have been conducted, and each one did not turn up any new evidence. Private investigator Michael Ward was hired by Sandra to look into her son's case. Ward believes that there is enough evidence pointing to foul play. The 22-year veteran of the Connecticut police force dedicates his time to investigating cases of the missing and murdered. Ward has stated many times that there isn't enough being done by state and local police to bring victims home. He has also said that many things need to be changed in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, like tougher laws on drugs and violent crime, and paying police what they're worth.
We know that they all have common denominators. We know that there are certain things they all have in common, places that they frequent, people that they hang around with.
Ward says police are often overwhelmed with the cases or they're acted on too late, but he believes crimes have been committed in the missing persons.
It's a network of all the same people, and they have this creed amongst them that nobody talks.
Michael's family posted information about his disappearance on Facebook, and it drew several disturbing revelations about what may have really happened to him. Over the years, Jennifer has learned that there were at least 5 to 8 so-called friends in Michael's circle that know more about his disappearance than they are saying. 3 of these people are now deceased, including the 2 women that were with Michael the day he went missing. Whatever these women knew, they took to their grave with them. To add even more mystery to Michael's disappearance, we have the vanishing of Linda M. Price. Linda was just 31 years old when she was last seen in Danville, Kentucky on June 8, 2015. Both Linda Price and Michael Gorley were part of the same group of friends and disappeared within 22 days of each other. Investigators are uncertain if their disappearances are connected. It's important to note that Michael Gorley's case is not cold. It's an ongoing investigation. Michael's family and the Kentucky State Police believe that this is a solvable case. A small group of people were with Michael when he disappeared on May 17, 2015. These people, or someone associated with them, knows what really happened to him. You have the power to bring Michael home, and his family is pleading for you to do so. Sandra Hasty and Honey Gibson Riddle have created a private Facebook page titled Missing and Murdered Loved Ones in Kentucky. This online community seeks to support loved ones of victims and ensure that these cases remain in the public eye. It now has over 16,000 in its group. If you have any information about the disappearance of Michael Gorley or any victim of an unsolved crime in the state of Kentucky, we are asking you to do what is right and please step forward. You can remain anonymous by calling Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, or you can call the Kentucky State Police at 859-623-2404. Are you obsessed with true crime content? Subscribe now and join our growing community as we analyze and discuss the details of some truly baffling cold cases. Browse our growing library of cold case investigations and immerse yourself in the mysteries that keep us up at night. Subscribe and join the EOJ community today. All it takes is a click.